Welcome back to Suncoast FYI. The beloved children's book, The Jungle Book, will be making its world premiere at the Oslo this summer. We are joined now by co-creator of the show, Rick Miller.
Hi.
Hi. And you've just arrived from Toronto.
That's right.
Recently.
Way up from Canada.
Oh,
and
wow.
we're here again. We were here last year with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And they liked us so much they brought us back for a new show.
Yes, The Jungle Book by Kipling.
That's right.
And tell us about how you're adapting that to the stage.
Right. Well, most people know The Jungle Book through the movies that were created. And we're trying to go back to Kipling's writing and really not only have Mowgli in the jungle, but actually tell the story of Mowgli in the town. So it's actually a different story. It broadens the story that I think that most people know, and it's a really enjoyable, really fun multimedia show for the whole family, and we think audiences are going to love it.
Now, what was your inspiration for this? How did that all come about?
When I was a kid, I had something on the wall of our bathroom, actually. It was a calligraphy writing of Kipling's If, a poem. And I remember just kind of learning it by heart as a kid. And I realized a lot of that really stuck with me. And when I looked at Jungle Book again, it was actually the law of the jungle, but transposed to humans. It really was just how to survive in this world, in this jungle we live in. And so I was really excited that those words of wisdom could then be translated. And so we brought in Kipling's writings, his poems, his songs. It's not just the Jungle Book, it's actually expanding on it. But it really is this wonderful tight little package with a lot of multimedia, a lot of lights, a lot of sound, a really immersive thing to take everyone into the jungle and out back again.
So how are you going to bring the audience into all of that technology when you have them there, captivated by your...
Well, the trick with when you have a movie, you kind of know how things are done.
Sure.
They take you into computers basically to show how take you into the jungle. Here, we don't have a natural tree or a leaf on stage, but through our video, through our lighting, our sound, we're basically able to immerse people and sometimes trick them so that they don't quite realize how things are done. So we're using a lot of shadow play, a lot of puppets, as well as 4 actors, amazing actors, and they're all of South Asian descent. So it really is a story that feels authentically like something that Kipling would have wanted if someone were to do a stage production.
Okay, so is the backdrop then going to be more of a movie set so that they see all the background of the jungle while the actors are on stage? Or?
They will see a lot of projections. A lot of things are basically trying to imply the jungle, but again, we don't have a giant jungle set. We're a touring show, and Mowgli, in our version of the show, speaks to the audience as a modern character, and he takes us back into his youth in the jungle and then his teenage years in the town, but now he's living in the city, and he's an architect. He's trying to understand why we don't work with nature in a city. So there's this modern frame that I think people will really connect to. So we go from the city all the way back to the jungle just through our use of high-tech and low-tech stuff that I know kids really love and adults will love too.
So this is, you're bringing interpretations of versions that people have never seen, and that's why this will be a new experience for everybody.
I think so. We really wanted to go back to the books, but also you didn't want to forget about Mowgli. His story is central, and I think the one that most kids can connect to, because it really is a story about not belonging, right? And it's a story we can maybe all relate to. He didn't belong. He got booted out of the jungle for being too much one way, and booted out of the town for being too much of another way. So this sense of never feeling connected, even with all our technology today, is something that I think we really wanted to draw out. And that's, I think, what will come from the play, is not just this sense of connection, but also how do we live in a city with nature?
Right. Now, children of all ages, I'm sure, can appreciate this, but what kind of spins are you putting on it so that everybody gets it, so that everybody enjoys it?
I think animated movies, the recent Disney movie as well, they do it really well. They have jokes there and themes that can connect for audiences and kids, and we're always aware of that. I honestly don't create shows for kids. I create shows that I enjoy for the inner child in me. And I think when you're sitting with someone of a different generation, watching them experience things together, that's what theater is. You know, we could just be watching a movie, but we're not. We're drawn into a beautiful theater that Oslo is, and really just experiencing something together and feeling moments of magic and actually being transported. When you know it's just people on stage pushing buttons, it's quite a magical feeling, and it's especially magical when you're sitting with a kid and watching their eyes light up.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, like you said, it's the experience of, you get so engrossed in books
Yes.
So that's what you bring to the stage. Now, tell us a little bit about your background and how this all came out.
Well, I studied architecture in Montreal, in Canada, but I always came at it from what an architect does, which is build worlds, essentially. And so Mowgli, as our modern character, is an architect, but he's finding that what he's doing is actually not even, he's lost all of his jungle inside him. He's building with a complete disregard for nature. So we felt it was really important to have a modern entry point so that people can bring their own personal story as to how they interact with animals, how they interact with the city, so that we never forget that we're actually sitting on jungle or desert or near water in the case of Florida. And so there's lots of stories that not only talk about animals but also our relationship to the natural world. And my background was always, I had the blessing of being surrounded by nature, but in the city, and so I always think people should seek that out, and I think after seeing our play, they'll hopefully feel a little bit differently about what they see around them and how
and what we have.
Yeah, what we have, really. And often we treat it with such blatant disrespect. In some ways we spit on it when we build a building a certain way, and there are other ways to do it, and that's what we're trying to give people is hope, not discourage them from from the challenges we face, but actually solve problems together. And that's what Mowgli's doing. He's brought everyone into the theater to realize that this is what I learned in the jungle, this is what the law of the jungle, this is what I remember, and now I'm going to apply it to my daily life today.
Wonderful. Now tell us when the show is, when
Yes.
people can see it, and where they can get tickets, please.
They can get tickets at the Oslo Rep website. They can go to junglebook.ca as well. We'll lead you to that website. And we preview on June the 6th, and we open June the 9th, and it runs for 3 weeks.
Awesome.
And bring your kids, but I think bring the whole family, because it really is a treat to watch the show.
I'll see you there.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here. The weekend is almost here. If you're looking for something to do, we have a few suggestions you might enjoy, so I'll tell you about them when we come back.